Okay, let's start with a moment, a really quiet one. Imagine it's early morning, you're holding a cup of tea. It's this simple, everyday act. But then, just for a second, your hand trembles and the cup tips, just slightly. And this warm tea spills onto the table. It pools there like a little amber lake.
And in that exact instant, something catches in your chest. You feel this heat rise in your face, a feeling of shame, maybe, even if you are completely and totally alone.
Right, and it's so disproportionate. Why does a tiny stumble like that feel like a confession? Like some inner messy truth has just leaked out for the world to see.
That feeling, that heat in your cheeks, that's the very doorway we're going to step through. Because the immediate impulse is to see that awkwardness as a flaw, something you have to hide or fix instantly.
To cover it up, pretend it didn't happen.
But here's the paradox. The constant pursuit of perfection, of being seamless, it's just a beautiful veil. And it hides the raw truth of what it is to be here. Awkwardness isn't the failure, it's the invitation.
Okay, I love the poetry of that, but let's break it down. If the goal is presence, and we're always performing, then awkwardness must be the moment the performance stops. What exactly is happening in that gap?
It's a collision, a really jarring one. It's the collision between how we want to be seen.
The mask.
The mask, yes. The polished version, and how we actually are in that moment. The face beneath it, the slightly trembling hand. The truth, it lives right there in the gap.
So when the tea spills,
Sure.
or you trip over your words in a meeting, the mind has no script for that. The rehearsed self just vanishes.
It vanishes. The performance has ceased. There is no script for the spilled tea. So you're forced suddenly into what you could call the raw now.
But it feels so uncomfortable. I mean, profoundly uncomfortable. We're taught that discomfort means you're doing it wrong. You're failing to be smooth, to be competent.
And we treat that discomfort as the enemy, but it isn't the enemy of presence. If anything, it's midwife.
It's midwife.
Think about the blush, that heat in your face. It's painful, yes, but it's also just aliveness, announcing itself, completely unfiltered. It's not just embarrassment, it is honesty in motion.
Honesty in motion. I like that. But what's the tangible result? If I choose to just sit with that blush instead of fighting it, what happens?
Clarity happens. You stop fighting the moment. You see things as they are, imperfect, a little crooked. In some aesthetics, the real beauty is found in that imperfection. The chipped cup, the uneven line. Awkwardness is just the body refusing to pretend anymore.
So trying to cover up a mistake it's choosing an illusion over reality. And that sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting because maintaining the illusion of control costs so much energy. We rehearse what we're going to say. We agonize over a text message. All that energy spent on the performance, it just drains our ability to be spontaneous, to actually connect.
Whereas the awkwardness itself,
it requires no energy. It just is. It is a yielding of that illusion.
This reminds me of that story, the Zen story of the monk, the one who spilled the tea.
Ah, yes. A young monk is preparing tea for his master, and he's desperate to do it perfectly. The ceremony has all these intricate steps, and in his anxiety to get it right, his hand shakes. He spills a single drop.
And he's mortified. He's ruined it.
He's ruined the perfect ritual. He just freezes. But the master just looks at him, and then at the tiny wet spot on the mat, and he says, "That drop is more honest than your whole ceremony."
Wow. So the failure was the most truthful part.
It's a kind of dignity, isn't it? The quiet admission that says, I am human. I am still learning how to hold this cup.
Which connects directly to this idea of a beginner's mind, right?
Shoshin. Yes. Instantly. When your hands fumble or your voice cracks, you are thrown right into Shoshin.
Can you explain that a little for people who might not know the term? It's not just about being a novice at something, is it?
No, it's not about skill level. It's a state of mind. Open, curious. It's unburdened by the need to be an expert. The expert mind is often closed because it thinks it knows. The beginner's mind is open because it's only asking questions. Awkwardness it strips away our certainty.
So if you're in a big meeting and someone asks a question you can't answer, the awkward pause, the panic is the impulse, but the opportunity is to just be in that beginner's mind, to say, I don't know.
Exactly. You stop performing expert and you just become a learner again. Look at a small child learning to walk. They fall constantly.
All the time.
Is the falling a failure? Or is it just part of walking? Awkwardness is not a mistake. It's a method.
We've just been trained so hard to believe that falling is incompetence. We're supposed to jump right back up and pretend it didn't hurt.
But in that tiny pause right after the stumble, a choice appears. Do you hide it? Or do you just breathe into it and feel the ground? The moment you lose your footing is the moment you feel the ground most clearly.
Leaning in is so hard, though. The fear of judgment it's huge. You just want to disappear.
Let's consider a koan story. A man is being chased by a tiger. He runs to a cliff, grabs a vine, and swings down. But when he looks down, there's another tiger waiting for him below.
So he's trapped.
Trapped. The tiger of the past behind him, the tiger of the future below. And as he's dangling there, he notices a tiny wild strawberry growing from the cliff face. He reaches out, he plucks it, and he tastes it.
He tastes the sweetness of the present moment, even with danger all around. It's about presence.
But how do we apply that now? I mean, what is the modern strawberry? Think about being on a video call. You're mid-sentence, and your mind just goes completely blank.
Oh, that's the worst feeling. The silence stretches, and it feels like tigers are circling.
Yes. And the impulse is to fill the space, to stammer, to say, to pretend the word is on the tip of your tongue.
Right.
But what if you just took a breath, a full visible breath, and said, I'm sorry, I just lost my thought for a moment. That is tasting the strawberry. You break the performance and you let a little bit of humanity into the room. A connection flickers to life.
But doesn't that risk making you seem less powerful?
Oh, what?
Or less credible? I mean, in a negotiation or a sales pitch, you're supposed to project certainty.
We avoid awkwardness because we fear disconnection. We think it makes us look weak. But here is the real paradox. Perfection isolates.
How so?
Projecting, I have it all together, sends a signal that says, I am different from you. I am separate. But awkwardness, it whispers, I'm trying just like you. When the mask slips, that's when we actually become connectable.
I can see that. There's an immediate sense of shared humanity. Like the person who stands up to give a toast at a dinner party.
Yeah.
And nobody joins them.
Yes, exactly. Their arm is just hanging in the air. This lonely beacon of social misjudgment.
The instinct is to pull your arm back so fast, sit down, and pretend you were just stretching.
But imagine he doesn't. He leaves his hand up, he takes a breath and says, well, since I seem to be alone in this, I will simply toast to honesty. And everyone laughs. A warm laugh, and in that moment, the entire room connects.
He turned his own shame into a moment of connection for everyone. He broke the illusion that we're all supposed to be separate and smooth.
And what he was really defending, we were all defending, is just an image of ourselves, an idea.
Which brings us to another story, the full cup.
The master is pouring tea for a student, and he keeps pouring even after the cup is full. Tea is spilling everywhere, and the student finally shouts, stop, it's full, no more will go in.
And the master says,
just so. How can I show you Zen when your cup is already full?
Your mind is full of its own ideas.
And awkwardness, it's what empties the cup. When you fumble that full cup of your perfect self-image, it cracks. And that crack creates space. Space for silence, for not knowing. And that's the only place wisdom can enter.
That feels so relevant to how we communicate now. The agony of writing a text to someone you care about. You type, you delete, you retype. The awkwardness you're avoiding isn't a typo, it's the vulnerability, the fear of rejection.
That vulnerability is the true signal. It's the only thing that can actually cross the space between two people.
And then there's silence. We treat silence in a conversation as the ultimate awkwardness. We rush to fill it.
We do. But silence is not an absence. It is presence in its purest form. In that shared silence, we transmit not information, but being.
So the next time I ask a question, and there's a long pause, my job isn't to save the other person. My job is to just sit in the silence with them.
Let the silence breathe, that shared awkwardness. It reveals what we might call the original face.
The face before all the roles and masks.
The face that is simply seen, not judged, just witnessed, standing in the rain of your own humanity.
So this whole time, we've been trying to solve a problem that isn't a problem. Awkwardness isn't something to overcome. It is the path itself.
The obstacle is the path. The spilled tea is not a distraction from the practice. It is the practice.
So we should welcome it, not as a flaw, but as a kind of a bell ringing us back home, back to the body that trembles and the heart that yearns.
The great paradox is that the very thing we run from is the thing that sets us free. It anchors us in the ordinary, messy, real moments of our lives.
So the next time you feel that heat rising in your cheeks, when your voice cracks or you stumble, the invitation is to not run away from the moment.
Don't apologize for your humanity. Just lean in, bow to the feeling, and whisper, if only to yourself, thank you. You are reminding me that I am here.
Let the moment be imperfect and fleeting and real. The liberation isn't in being seamless, it's in the crack that lets the light in.
What is the sound of one hand blushing?